HCAM News is supported by our viewers and by Hopkinton Drug, located in this historic New England town since 1954. They are a multifaceted store dedicated to providing clients with an array of healthcare options.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of HCAM News. I'm HCAM News Director Tom Nappy, here to fill you in with the latest happenings in Hopkinton. On today's edition of HCAM News, we talk with Hopkinton High School Athletic Director Rich Cormier about the upcoming spring season, and we'll tell you about some happenings in town you should know about. But first, Hopkinton Water-Sewer Manager and weather enthusiast Eric Carty fills us in on the latest Hopkinton weather trends. Hello, everybody. We are joined by Eric Carty, your favorite water and sewer manager from the Hopkinton DPW, and we're going to talk some weather trends and maybe some other topics. But let's start off with the weather trends. Eric, it's been kind of a wacky couple of weeks. You had some spring-like weather, and last few days you got some winter-like weather. But obviously in New England, you never know what you're going to get in March and April. So based on what you know, what do you think we can expect in the upcoming few weeks weather-wise?
So, well, maybe just to go back one step further, a lot of the long-range outlooks had the end of March being a very warm month going forward. So as we can see, that didn't quite play out the way they had predicted. Overall, the month has been warmer than normal. You don't really think about it that much because we've had some of these cold days. Being in the teens today certainly erases those memories. But overall, it's been slightly, above average, which has been good. Coming up, the outlook is for us to stay right around average again, maybe a little bit cooler. With hopefully the stormy pattern getting ready to break. The way that the jet streams have been set up, there's just been all kinds of energy coming from the northwest, which dipped down in the middle of the country, and then from the Gulf Stream, all that moisture and energy had been coming up from the south, and those kept meeting in the middle, which was generating all of our weather, which pretty much it rained every single weekend in March. I think this is going to be the first one coming up that so far looks good. So that pattern's looking to finally break down. And that jet stream should hopefully shift northward, which will give us the warmer air coming up. But we can always use the rain. Thankfully, we haven't had as much as we did during the spring and summertime last year. But so like you said, it's in New England here. You never know what's going to happen. But that seems to be what the outlook's looking at right now.
Well, one of the things I think we could assume is we're more than likely done with the snow for this winter season, right?
Yeah, they had looked at about 2 weeks ago. We were looking for this Thursday, Friday. There was a potential to be a very big storm because the energy was all there. And they're actually calling for a few flurries when that front comes through, but that looks like it's dissipated. And generally this time of year, it's hard to get anything generated. I mean, we can go back to 1997. I remember that well. April Fool's Day, we had over 3 feet of snow. So you can never say never, but the chances of that are very remote.
Yeah, that must have been quite an April Fool's Day.
Well, the big thing was getting ready for the marathon because I was only 2 weeks away from that point. The highway had to go up and actually bring loaders onto the high school field. They had to bucket the snow off the field so they could set up the athletes' village because there was just so much snow on the ground.
Absolutely, and so we didn't get too much snow this winter, but I know it's probably been busy over at the DPW. How's everything going? And you'll have to start getting ready for the marathon soon, once again, in a few weeks.
Yeah. Actually, the highway was very busy, although there wasn't a lot of snow. We actually ended up a little bit above average, and Boston actually beat out Worcester in terms of snowfall for the first time in about 50 years. But there was a lot of, because of all that energy that I talked about earlier, there was a lot of storms that ended up having rain. It was like 60 degrees and raining, and then the next day the temperature would just drop to freezing. So the highway had to go out multiple times salting. That happened. I can remember at least 3 weeks in a row we had that same scenario. It actually ended up record high days, and followed by below normal day afterwards with the precipitation, so it kept them busy. So, but now, like I said, everything's focused on getting ready for the marathon. The highway's actually been out doing a lot of sweeping, getting stuff in preparation. But the week before the marathon, we'll go out and we'll check our pipes in the center of town, both the water and the sewer, just to make sure everything's all set for that, for the big day. This will be the first one in 2 years or 3 years now that be back to normal operations with everybody being there at once.
Well, we're all certainly happy that things are getting back to normal for sure. But so weather-wise, pretty much done with the cold weather, you think, and warm weather should be coming in relatively soon, hopefully, right?
Yeah, and the outlook for the summer was most of spring, they were saying it was going to start to dry out. So hopefully we don't get into a scenario like we did last year. We had started on a drought in the springtime, but that quickly turned into a deluge that seemed to last all summer long. We ended up with record amounts of rain after that. But the forecast now is just to be probably on the drier side for spring, and then a little bit below normal a little bit above normal for summer temperatures.
All right. Well, Eric, we know you're busy over there. We'll let you get back to it. Thanks for joining us and filling us in on the upcoming weather trends.
All right. Thanks as always for having me, Tom.
The Hopkinton School Committee recently discussed a program allowing Hopkinton High School students in their senior year to get some experience working in the education field. At the last school committee meeting, an internship opportunity for Hopkinton seniors in the education field was discussed.
Senior internship education project to Hopkinton High School, along with Mr. Bishop and the rest of the high school administration, and interestingly, with the other 4 schools in our district all being part of this year. This is an opportunity for paid work experiences for students in their senior year in good standing, with several different goals. And the goals being to offer our students the opportunity to work through a paid internship in grades pre-K through 8. So that's why we don't have interns at the high school, because the program wasn't designed that way. The hope on the part of the Mass Department of Education is to accelerate the growth of the teacher pipeline in Massachusetts. And really the impetus for this was the pandemic, and thinking about learning loss and some of the challenges that students have faced. Can we capitalize on our high school seniors to use some of their talents and their strengths to help our younger students? So again, it's funded through a grant through the Department of Education. Mass Higher Metro Southwest is the company that's kind of serving as our go-between. So that's the company that's paying their salary. It's nothing from the town of Hopkinton. They've all filled out all the paperwork, W-2s and the whole 9 yards. And so it's very kind of a very professional operation.
Some students who previously participated in the program gave feedback about their experience.
Like I said earlier, my name is Lexi Trendle, and I've been working at Elmwood School with Miss Gauss, the art teacher, and Miss Page, one of the 3rd grade teachers, who were actually both my teachers when I was at Elmwood School. I was inspired to apply for this program mainly because I love spending time with kids. As of right now, I'm not planning on pursuing a career in education, but I know that this internship will be beneficial for both college and my future career search. My experience at Elmwood so far has been overwhelmingly positive. Everybody's welcomed me and have been more than happy to help me out with anything I need. Working with Miss Gauss in the art classroom is especially fun because I have a lot of creative freedom. I can do the project myself, I can talk to the students, or I can help them with their project, and that gives me the opportunity to build relationships with students from all throughout the school, of all teachers and all grades. While with Miss Page, I have a much more personalized experience with the students, and I have the opportunity to teach the curriculum and build relationships with a much smaller group of students, which makes that really special. So I'm super excited to start going into Elmwood more often once my senior project starts and spending time with the students and teachers each day.
Hi everyone, as I previously mentioned, my name is Sagar Napati. I originally decided to apply for this program just because Mr. Bishop sent an email out, and being a senior, 2nd semester, a lot of the studies that we're given weren't necessarily being used productively, so I thought that this would be this would be a nice way to sort of immerse myself in the education field, work with children in a closer capacity, and I also decided to, work for the ESOL program at Marathon, and being a bilingual student, and having a brother that actually went through the ESOL program at Marathon, I guess sort of working with the bilingual program there just seemed sort of meaningful to me, and that was something that I wanted to pursue there. And so far, I think that it's been an amazing learning experience.
Hi everyone, my name is Saraya, and I'm placed at Hopkins with Mr. Bernstein teaching 4th grade. And I just loved it so much. Like, the first time I walked into the classroom and introduced myself to all the students, like, my supervisor, he let me, like, have the kids ask some questions about, like, high school. My first question, oh my gosh, does high school have exploding stuff? Because that's what I heard. And then the second question was, what is the exact month and date that World War II started? And it's just like, I just like jumped right into this like super fun environment. The kids are so enthusiastic, and what I've really learned and found rewarding with it is in a 4th grade classroom, it's not really at all like a high school or middle school setting, because there's not like leveling. So you have students of all levels in one classroom, and what I really had to work with is kids who are on like the next week's lesson versus kids who don't understand like the task that was designed for today. And what I found super rewarding is like working with those kids who just need a little direction, just a little push to help stay on track. And like you see so much growth and development in them. It's super rewarding. I really enjoyed working with them, and they're just so like, they're so fun. Like 10-year-olds just have like a very like lighthearted like sense of humor. They're innocent, and it's just like they're so full of happiness. Like they make me so happy, and like I feel like I'm like a whole year younger when I like walk into there. And I am also looking forward to education in the future. I am considering administration in like education, so hopefully I'll get to work in more internships like this during my time in college, and then see where everything takes me. But I'm just so excited to like spend more time in the classroom too, as everyone else has mentioned.
We're going to take a quick time out, a whole lot more ahead. Don't go anywhere. HCAM programming is supported by our viewers, thank you, and by Phipps Insurance Agency, representing companies such as MapFree Insurance. Their family-owned independent agency is deeply rooted in the communities they serve and offer time-tested insurance products to fit individual needs. Since 1950, Phipps Insurance specializes in home, auto, business, condo, and renters insurance. Welcome back to HCAM News. We recently chatted with Hopkinton High School Athletic Director Rich Cormier about the upcoming spring season and this past winter season. Here's a look. So we had a bit of a shaky start to the winter season with COVID, but we got through it. There was a few postponements, few delays, but we got through it, and it was a successful, pretty normal winter season. How did everything go on your end for the winter season?
Yeah, you said it well. I mean, it was obviously we've had a series of unusual seasons, really, since we lost the spring of 2020. Each season has presented itself with certain challenges. Last year we had all sorts of restrictions, rule changes, fan restrictions, all sorts of things. But I would say this winter in some ways was the most challenging for the teams themselves, just due to the level of interruptions we had. Whether it was due to the protocols or whatever it was, we really didn't have that many students testing positive last year. So there was not a lot of students missing time due to testing positive for COVID. It was more, if they missed time, it was often because they were a close contact or something to that effect. Whereas this winter, we had over 100 student athletes who tested positive. And again, just due to the regulations that are in place, that often meant 17 days where they were out. And that is just a ton of time to miss. And for most of the students, it was right around like the second or third week of the season so they were just kind of getting themselves in shape. The teams were just sort of starting to hit their stride, just about to get into the full swing of games, and then just boom, you're missing most of your team, and then you're regrouping in January. So I do think in some ways this was, just besides losing our season, obviously, in the spring of 2020, I think this was the most challenging in many ways for the coaches, for the players, for their families. There was just so much disruption. And then you throw in a couple snowstorms that were not, well timed based on our schedule. And there was just so many rescheduled contests. So I think it was hard for teams to get into any sort of rhythm or groove. But despite that, we were able to play all of our contests. We were able to finish our seasons. We had, quite a few teams make the tournament. We had a lot of individual success as well in sports such as track and field and wrestling. So, all in all, it was still a great season and a successful season, but it was certainly very, very challenging, I think, for everyone involved.
Yeah, there were certainly a lot of successful runs in that winter season. And I have to ask, did Kate Powers break any kind of record for awards? It seems like every week she was winning some kind of huge track and field awards.
What Kate has accomplished is beyond impressive. She's such a great kid, and she just works so hard. It truly is impressive to watch her to win a team state championship and be a leader on that team in the fall. And then to see the individual accolades that she earned throughout the winter season, including, she was another individual state champion. She won the Milrose Games, which has been around for over 100 years in New York. She's an All-American. I mean, just amazing. She also during the season committed to the University of Kentucky to continue her track and field career. And now we're going to get to watch her again in the spring. I have quite a bit of updating to do to our track record boards, but I'm just going to wait until Kate graduates, and then I'll update the board.
I have a feeling she'll be dominating a lot of the top of that board.
Mm-hmm.
So how was it on your end with all this rescheduling and stuff? It must have been pretty crazy for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was busy. It was. Winter, again, presents certain challenges because most of our contests are not at our facilities. We were very fortunate that we didn't lose any track meets because that would have been really difficult. Reggie Lewis Center was very tight on times, as was Wheaton College. So thankfully, we did not lose any track meets because we may have lost them. We may not have been able to reschedule them. But with ice hockey and swimming, and some of our events that are off-site, it does present challenges because you're bound by the facility. But again, thankfully, everyone was able to accommodate us. We were able to get everything in and complete our seasons, which I think is really impressive.
I have to congratulate you for successfully getting everything in. I know it wasn't easy. So this past winter, the Hiller girls basketball team had a nice little playoff run. They almost took down Chelmsford. And we weren't at that game, but I was watching their broadcast of it, and I believe you were. Mm-hmm. And it seems like the atmosphere there was absolutely crazy. And what ended just on the short side for the Hillers, but what a game it was, what an ending. It must have been nice for some of these postseason games to, first off, have no masks, but a full slate of fans and the atmosphere that we're used to in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was really exciting. I mean, we saw a bit of that this fall, obviously, with our volleyball team, despite having to wear masks through that playoff run. But it was a great atmosphere up in Chelmsford. I was really impressed by how many of our students made the trip up to Chelmsford. Chelmsford had a great student section. They really did. It was packed. It was a great atmosphere. It was a great game. So many great moments. I mean, Kiki Fossbender hit a half quarter to end the first half. I mean, and then the way they won, you got to hand it to Chelmsford. They hit the big shot with 2.5 seconds left, and obviously that was devastating for our girls. But what an unbelievable game they played. Seriously, from the very beginning to the very end, it was a lot of excitement to watch. Just devastating to see how it ended, and certainly for our senior girls, but they played their hearts out. It was really fun to watch.
It certainly did. And they overcame a lot of adversity as the season went on. between starting late because of COVID and having numerous games moved, and to make a postseason run like that, I think it's pretty impressive.
And I think they're a great example of that, Tom. You know, they were shut down for quite some time. They didn't play their first game until after January. So they played 20 games, you know, in a very condensed period of time. And then even within that time, they had other games moved due to weather. Some of our opponents who ran into some COVID issues as well. So there were some stretches there where they were playing 4 games a week. They had some injuries on their team that they had to navigate throughout the season as well, including one of our senior captains who battled a shoulder injury all year long. So, I mean, that team really did battle through a lot of adversity, and to see how they performed against the number 8 seed in that tournament was really, really cool.
Absolutely. They're certainly fun to watch throughout the winter. So we have spring season coming up. It's already pretty much started. The practices and tryouts are going on right now. How's everything coming together for the spring season? All the fields ready to go? I know it must have been a little difficult prepping some of the grass fields with this weather that we've had recently.
Yeah. So, you know, in some senses, I can't remember, to be honest with you, the last time, you know, I used to coach in the spring season too before I became an athletic director. And I can't remember the last time we were outside on the first day of the spring season, not including last year, since that was in April. But to be outside on the fields in the third week in March was pretty nice to have some nice weather. Of course, then it rained towards the end of the week, and now we're freezing out there, which is just, I mean, that's just par for the course right now. You know, but the teams are off to great starts. You know, some are just wrapping up their tryouts. We have a few scrimmages this week to get the teams ready. And then towards the end of the week, we actually start with games. Our girls lacrosse team opens on Thursday. Our boys lacrosse team opens on Friday. And then next week, we really get into the full swing of games, you know, for all of our different teams.
It's time to tell you about some happenings in town you should know about. Pillars of the month include Morgan Fraser. Morgan showed great leadership on and off the ice all season. She was always on time, dedicated to the game, played the proper way, respected other teams and officials. Morgan was sure to be the glue that helped keep 4 schools together on one team, playing as a group on the ice and hanging out together off the ice. She was one of only 3 players to play in all of the games this season. She also played in all 70 games of her career, never missing a single one. She was also a big contributor in the tournament, which the Hopkinton girls hockey team took home the win at the tournament in Auburn, and a big asset to the team, including being the MVP in that Auburn tournament. Congratulations to Morgan Fraser. The other Hiller of the month is Justin Sokol. Justin Sokol entered the postseason as the 7th seed in the Division II West sectionals. He upset the 2nd seed in the second round and went on to place 3rd in the tournament. The following week at Division II States, Justin pinned his way to the state finals and lost a hard-fought match to the eventual New England champion from Milford. At the All-State Tournament, he wrestled extremely tough competition and was able to go 4-2 to place 5th and qualify for the New Englands, being only the 6th wrestler in Hopkinton High School team history to compete in the New Englands. Justin won a match at the New Englands to cap off a truly impressive postseason run. Being only a junior, he has high goals for next season. Congratulations to Justin Sokol. On Monday, April 11th from 7 to 8:30, the Hopkinton Youth and Family Services is hosting Youth Mental Health and Suicide Prevention. What can we do? It will feature a couple of speakers and air live on HCAM. To see all the details, head over to our website, hcam.tv. The Hopkinton Marathon Committee is giving away 6 $1,200 scholarships to Hopkinton residents, high school graduating seniors that are accepted to a 2 to 4 year college or university and has lettered in at least one varsity sport in high school. The application deadline is Friday, April 15th. at 2 p.m. and must be delivered or mailed to Hopkinton Town Hall or emailed to Elaine Lazarus. You can own one of these great Hopkinton Hiller flags for just $30. You can show off your team spirit and also help out the Hopkinton High School senior class of 2022. If you're interested in one of the flags, head over to hopsenior2022.com. Plenty of spots are available in this year's Hopkinton Town election, but time is running out. So if you're interested in running for one of the open positions, be sure to get your papers now. Keep in mind, a couple more school committee positions just opened up as well. Head down to Hopkinton Town Hall or reach out to them if you are interested in picking up some papers. Our pictures of the week include some Hopkinton Hillers at the Sportsmanship Summit hosted by the MIAA. They went down to Gillette Stadium and had a nice afternoon at the Sportsmanship Summit, just courtesy of Hiller Athletics on Twitter. And also, we can't forget the state champion Hopkinton High School girls volleyball team. They closed out the year undefeated and with the Division II state championship in what was the last year for head coach Margie Grabmeyer. Congratulations, and that banner will certainly be a beautiful addition to the Hopkinton High School Athletic Center. Upcoming town government meetings include the Planning Board on Monday, April 4th at 7 p.m. It'll air live on HCAM TV. And on Tuesday, April 5th at 6 p.m., we'll have the Select Board airing live on HCAM TV. To view all upcoming town government meetings, head over to hcam.tv/gov. And for more information on upcoming town government meetings, head over to hopkintonma.gov. Believe it or not, we are out of time for this edition of HCAM News, but don't worry, next Thursday at 6:30 p.m., we'll be back with a brand new episode. For everyone at HCAM, I'm Tom Nappy. As always, we thank you for watching. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk to you again soon. Goodbye, everybody.